Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check this headline out. The head of central bank engagement at Ripple, James Wallis, talking about just how many conversations and NDAs going on at Ripple with central banks. You're going to love it. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content at the top of the screen. Right now, cryptocurrency market cap today is $1.23 trillion. We are up 0.34% in the last 24 hours. And we're getting our numbers from XRPLedger, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, the central hub for the XRP ecosystem. You can have your company on this page right here at the top where everybody can know and understand exactly what you do, what you offer. This is the place to be right here. Central hub for the XRP community. Don't forget to go here and check out the XRP rich list. Find out where you sit. Check your wallet. See where you are in the rankings here. I know where I sit, and I need to do better. I looked at that. I need to do better. Or look at the XRP rich calculator, where you can put in here, just like, you know, the numbers that are default numbers that were put in by Susan Athey and Robert Mitchnick, who put this together. Susan Athey from Ripple. Robert Mitchnick is Stanford graduate and now over and heading up the digital asset division for BlackRock. These are real heavyweights that put this calculator together. The default numbers they have in here, if I were to calculate that, come out to a $1,632 XRP if there was that much flowing through it. But you know what? Just for fun here, what about 1 trillion here? 1 trillion with all the other default numbers here, and we got a $457 XRP. You can have fun with this too. Go check it out, XRPLedger. Click the link underneath the screen. Let's get started here. And by the way, before we get started, I do want to remind you of something that just really hit me yesterday, and I want to share it with all of you. You know, we know we're waiting for the markets to really get going here. We know XRP is not a security, the only digital asset that is not a security in the United States of America. But here's what we also know. The markets are off by a huge amount. Some cases more than 90% from where they were. But what I know is that I don't want to treat my portfolio and my investments like I'm in the lottery or like I've won the lottery. That's why I put together the Digital Perspectives Mastermind group. And did you know that most lotto winners go broke within inside of 3 years, no matter how big the check is? I don't want to treat my investment like a lotto winning. And I know you don't either. And if you want to learn how to master your investments with strategies and concepts that will help you achieve financial freedom, surround yourself with hundreds of others like-minded investors and some even more successful than ourselves that we can learn from. Teach yourself the new strategies and techniques. Tapping into the wealth knowledge you're joining the DPMG is the solution, ladies and gentlemen. Make the investment in yourself. Click the link for the 3-day free trial below and begin your journey of building long life building wealth for you and your family. No doubt about it. Click that link. It's happening inside there. And this is one of the things I've talked about. NFTs. They have great potential to disrupt markets like real estate and intellectual property in the best way. But if your NFT is a glorified JPEG, your investment may end up being 0.00257 of $623,000 too. Be careful out here. Popular YouTuber Logan Paul purchased this NFT for $623,000. Back in 2021, it is worth $1,600 today. This here is talking about the stablecoin provision. Now, we know that we saw a couple bills move forward that were marked up through the Financial Services Committee in the House. They have moved forward and passed. The stablecoin bill is one of those. It will go to the House floor for a full vote. If it passes there, it'll go over to the Senate. But this here, shared by Mr. I and Parrot Capital, this stablecoin provision was just added to the NDAA bill. If it passes, USDC, USD Tether, and Terra USD are all in trouble on Coinbase, Kraken, etc. Circle Tether, True USD have no idea who most of their customers are. However, I can tell you for a fact, USDC does do KYC, ladies and gentlemen. They do offer that. Sanction compliance responsibilities of payments for stablecoin issuers in Section 3 of the NDAA bill. No later than 120 days after the date of enactment, this act, the Secretary of Treasury shall adopt guidance clarifying the sanction compliance responsibilities, liabilities of an issuer of a payment stablecoin with respect to downstream transactions relating to the stablecoin that take place after the stablecoin is first provided to customer of the issuer. So there you have it. Look, this is something I've been talking about with USD Tether, any other stablecoin out here. Are we going to see some kind of regulation or legislation put in place that rug pulls the activity to bring it into compliance? It could be a black swan for the crypto space before we truly get a turnaround in the market. We'll see. And then here we see this. Shout out to Mac Attack for this one. You should follow Mac Attack. The guy is so positive and bullish. I love it. XRP steals the spotlight. Is the Bitcoin era coming to a close? Recent data reveals an increase in XRP active addresses and impressive trading volumes, which just a few days ago was 4 times the trading volume of Bitcoin. Go XRP. I asked a question here. How long until XRP passes Bitcoin and becomes number 1 in crypto? And I think use case utility will be the price driver and market cap driver of that reality when it happens. But I don't know when it will. But I tell you what, we're going to get a lot of confirmation that we're going to see over time a lot of use case brought to XRP. And James Wallis, the head of central bank engagement, is going to give it to us this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to him and Ripple. He sat down with CoinDesk and he said SEC case and the ruling had almost no impact on Ripple's talks with central banks. I love it. Anthony Welfare says here, great interview, excellent interview, in fact, with James Wallis discussing the world's first government-issued stablecoin with Palau. How about that one? Poster child for regulated stablecoin using public XRP-Ledger with very clear boundaries for usage. Also covers the initial use case, retail peer-to-peer lending, and using XRP-Ledger DEX feature amongst many others. Also love the first question around the partial SEC win for XRP, suggesting we are all high-fiving Brad in the corridors. And you know what? Leave it to CoinDesk to want to frame this as a partial win. You know, I tell you, let me tell you what this really was. Because the decision that the SEC won on, as we all know, was the early sales were considered unregistered securities, right? That's what was said. So U.S. institutions cannot buy directly from Ripple. Well, let me tell you what else it implies. It implies that everyone else in the space, because it is a matter of law now, is not allowed to buy directly from the actual provider of the tokens either. So this is a way to choke out the market and the current model and approach that's happening not by Ripple like in the early days, but like everybody in this space has been doing. Ethereum, the token assembly line, and every other project out here essentially. It really does put a halt on the market to the way the norms have been. Now that is something that I see that has to be addressed in the future. What will happen is, is the question, what will happen? And what we have to ask ourselves, does this thing go to appeal? Does this thing go to Supreme Court? Because I've always believed it would go to Supreme Court, but I'm not so sure now. When I look at it and the implications on the entire space broadly, I have to ask myself, maybe SEC settles with Ripple. Ripple gets a waiver for the early sales, a no action letter on going forward with commercial use and sales directly from Ripple. And they are the only ones that get clarity. And the rest of the space is still bound by the judgment itself, because each case could be ruled on the facts and circumstances of that particular asset and case. You know, I don't know if it will be that way, but I mean, it is something we have to consider. But in the interim, I have great highlight clips here. Shout out to Mary C. Hall here for sharing this one here from James in the CoinDesk interview. It is a great interview. You should watch it. However, you can tell Lewis Levitin, or however you say his last name, he can't stand Ripple or XRP, and he hates the fact that they've been successful. He can't stand it. It is all over his face. There's no question about it. All right, so here we go. Let's play this, and let's give a shout out again to Mary from Ripple on sharing this clip here, and let's take a listen to James Wallis lay it down. You're going to love the one after this too.
Palau is, as you mentioned, is in the Pacific. It's relatively small population dispersed across many islands. We started talking to Palau probably a couple of years ago. We were talking with the president about his sort of strategy for the economy, both domestically and internationally. And then this concept of a national currency came up. So to give you a bit of context, Palau is a independent republic. It uses the US dollar as its official currency. It has no central bank, right? So we started thinking through this. We thought, okay, well, we can do a US dollar stablecoin, which could be launched as a Palau branded currency, if you like. So these thoughts, matured over the following sort of 12 months or so, and then here we are, right? We're so happy to have got this project live with real transactions. There's a lot of things have developed over those months. We have the basic first use case is really a retail stablecoin. So in this pilot, a number of government employees receive the PSC, the stablecoin, and they're able to go and buy things in a select number of the large retailers in the country. And then the retailers can then redeem that back into fiat in their bank if they choose to do that.
That's all happening on the public XRP ledger, a government-backed stable coin, which happens to be a US dollar, ladies and gentlemen. Come on in. Well, then there's this clip here that caught my attention, as it did Darren Moore. There are 195 countries in the world, ladies and gentlemen, and you're going to love this. James says 5 announced, 5 not announced, and he says actually, and a similar amount not announced. Conversations with 20 more. And if conversations turn into signed deals, that is 30 out of 195, or 15.38% of the world's countries running on Ripple's CBD platform that offers private or public XRP. Come on in. Shout out to Darren Moore. Give him a follow.
I would tell you that outside of the US, the SEC case, had almost no impact on our ability to get conversations and projects going with central banks. I know here in the US, we focus a lot on the US, that's what you'd expect. But the reality is that the rest of the world does not see things the same way. I think it's been clear for a while that countries like the UK and Switzerland and Japan have been very clear that XRP is not a security. So anyway, moving on to the CBDC side, it's not really been an impediment. Since we started 2.5 years ago on this project, we've announced 5 different countries that are working with us. We have a similar number that are not announced, and then we have 20 plus other active discussions underway. So we've announced 5 different countries that are working with us. We have a similar number that are not announced, and then we have 20 plus other active discussions underway. So
There you have it right there. This is what I'm waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. Real use case driving the demand for XRP. The question now is, will banks in the United States and financial institutions that can benefit from XRP be satisfied simply being a market participant, using XRP in an indirect way, not being exposed to the volatility? Or will they be able to see down the road and what the advantage of actually holding XRP would really mean, as they also participate as a market maker, not just as a market participant? That is the question. And with that question, we have to ask ourselves, what's really going on when a Bitcoin, and I showed this yesterday, but what's really going on when a Bitcoin maxi, who, and I'm not saying him specifically, but when maxis in general say XRP is a crap coin, it's been going to zero, they've been saying it for years, but now we got them saying we could see $25 or $30. But I know one thing, if we're going to get there, Egg Red Crypto makes a really great point. That elusive Fibonacci level 1.618 is going to have to reveal itself to us, which is right up here, and we see where we are here on the earlier 1618. So there we have it. We got to get there. But in order to get there, I think James Wallis is telling us just some of those major players that can make that happen. Not financial advice from me, him, or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.